it's really common. Unfortunately, there's a lot of, very subtle grooming that's going on. There are websites. I think about who's at risk, and it could be it really doesn't matter. In the 16, 17 years I've been working with kids and teens across all socioeconomic and multicultural levels, it doesn't matter. I think teaching good self-esteem and open communication, again, it kind of goes back to Parenting 101.
Mm-hmm.
But the false the subtle grooming, I think, is what I'm taken away from. That these are kids that could have really good grades. They come from nice families. But they're not identifying, they kind of minimize it. Oh, it's just a friend, it's not a big deal, or they need attention. Some kids are just really bored or lonely. And then, we have the mental health issues like anxiety, depression, or, the big diagnosis in the mental health field right now is autism or Asperger's.
Right.
So part of that is misreading social cues. So you have a kid who is lonely and isolated, can't really make friends due to social cues, and then here's this nice, friendly person, and now he's your best friend. And, there's money that is exchanged,
mm-hmm.
which is really scary. There are gifts that are involved, and it's things that parents wouldn't even guess is going on with your own child.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, we're going to go to a break. When we come back from the break, Ray has a question here for Sheriff Wickersham. So on the other side, more with Sheriff Wickersham, more with Dr. Schwartz. You're listening to The Paul Wedding Show on AM 1310 WDTW. We'll be right back.
Yeah, you got! Seducing teen girls online is easy. A lot of them feel so lonely and misunderstood. I don't even need to lie about my age. They're just glad they're talking to someone.
Someone older I can trust. They're more mature than the guys at my school and understand me better than other
Teen girls are very trusting. You just have to tell them they're beautiful and special, and you can wear down whatever suspicions they have.
Have an understanding of real love. It's not all about looks. They know that doesn't matter when you're totally in love.
Love is the final piece of the puzzle. They believe anything I tell them because
I don't see why you shouldn't meet someone you totally trust. I mean, if someone really cares about you, there's no danger in
meeting them, no matter how long it takes, is always the goal. Once I get them to meet me, well, that's when things get really interesting.
Online predators know what they're doing. Do you?
1 in 5 kids online is sexually solicited. Don't believe the type. Visit cybertipline.com to learn more. A message from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Ad Council.
Janine Marks, a 12-year-old, was fairly normal. She spent a lot of time online. One day, she met a new friend. The new friend had the same problems at home. They liked the same bands. They worried about the same subjects in school. They promised to keep each other's secrets. They wished they went to the same junior high. The new friend had good news. He said he was going to be in Janine's area one Saturday. He thought it would be amazing if they could just hang out, go to the mall. Janine agreed. The new friend didn't want parents messing this up. Janine showed up alone. So did her new friend, who wasn't in junior high, wasn't nice, and wasn't a 14-year-old boy. Last year, 1 in 5 children was sexually solicited online. Help delete online predators. Call 1-800-THE-LOST or visit cybertipline.com to learn how to protect your kids' online life. A message from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to the Paul Wedding Show. This is one of your hosts, Ray Parnello. I want to give the phone number 248-848-1310. That's 248-848-1310. Please call in with your questions and comments. Let's make this broader conversation. And we're joined here in studio with Sheriff Wickersham on the topic of online predators and how parents can protect their children from such. And I wanted to ask you, Sheriff, is a child from a one-parent household more at risk than another?
Well, I think the child from the one-parent household, I think, has more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we've seen in one-parent households, you know, the single parent has to work, and that child is left alone to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're alone, you have more time to be on the internet or on TV or do pretty much whatever you want to do because you don't have supervision. The parent isn't there to say, okay, enough on the computer, let's go do homework, or why don't you go outside and play?
That makes sense.
So it does seem that the one parent child would be more apt
to
become a victim.
Dr. Schwartz, I have a question for you. And it's similar, it's along the same lines as what we were just answering there. When a child has self-esteem issues, issues of feeling worthless, having problems building relationships at school, does this make a child a little bit more in terms of being susceptible to these online predators?
Well, you know, I think it's a tricky thing because you can look at the popular crowd, and I think what I have learned over the years is even kids with good self-esteem, you know, that do know how to speak up are still at risk for still needing that extra attention, or, you know, the teenage stage can be somewhat narcissistic, and so if somebody is mirroring how beautiful you are and how smart you are, sometimes that doesn't matter. So I wouldn't just say, you know, it's very easy to focus on the kids with low self-esteem or who are depressed or, you know, very, you know, lack social skills, but I think we would be missing a whole group if we just focused on, you know, just the kind of the assumption that it's just the kids that look like what they call emotional kind of, you know, they were black and they look really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I worry about the popular kids too. I worry about all of them.
That's a great point.
Dr. Schwartz, you mentioned before the break the term grooming. Can you elaborate on that? How do these predators groom kids in order to get closer to them?
Well, they start out by just making friends, talking about their day, playing video games, whatever the child or teenager is interested in, they will hone their interest all about that. So if a girl likes to shop, they'll talk about, you know, shopping and really find whatever their interests are, and then they'll go in and they'll offer them little things, or they'll, you know, send gift cards in the mail, or, you know, they'll, you know, kind of be really interested in all about their lives, and then, you know, give them compliments and build them up. And it's so subtle. Then they'll start to say, well, why don't you, you know, take a picture? Let's go to, you know, there are different stages. So one thing can be just chatting online, but, you know, most of the teens are now doing FaceTime or Google Chat or whatever, but it's Skype. So it's really face-to-face. And before you know it, the person will say, you know, and sometimes it's not even, they could use a teenager to speak for them. So sometimes it's not even the perpetrator. It's the perpetrator who pays a teenager to look like it's a teen talking to a teen. I mean, there's some very scary things out there. And then it gets to be where, you know, young minors are taking off their clothes and doing really inappropriate things, and then they, you know, sometimes go face to face and meet them at malls or social settings, and it's really frightening what's going on.
I have a question for you, Sheriff Wickersham. Well, I was researching, you know, for the program today, I learned of two categories for predators. The first had a goal of an actual face-to-face meeting, while the second, what Dr. Schwartz was just talking about, was to exchange compromising photographs. Now, when does a face-to-face meeting with one of these predators become criminal, and is the exchanging of photographs something that you guys prosecute?
Yep. The first one, you know, the crime occurs when the predator arranges to meet the child under the age of 16 and for the purpose of sex. And again, a lot of that's the chat that goes back and forth and has their only purpose to meet with this child is for sexual.
It's one of their most popular excuses. Well, I didn't know how old they were.
Well, that's what they really can't say that, because again, you're going to have that documentation, because a lot of these predators, once the age is up there, unless the child is saying that I'm 18, 19 and I'm of age, and that, but most of these predators, they're doing their homework, they're doing their research, and they know that child's underage, and they're again, as we use this term, they're grooming them, they're trying to befriend them, get them to come on their side, and feel that they're not the bad guy, and that they're going to meet, and they're going to do things.
Dr. Schwartz, we were speaking before the program, and I was telling you, and I only hope that the little girl's parents aren't listening to the program right now, but I was telling you about the little girl, 14-year-old girl that had sexual intercourse, or no, I'm sorry, that was raped by an 18-year-old classmate, and she did speak up, and she went through so much hell with her classmates that she eventually she committed suicide. I don't want to go into to her name, Samantha Kelly, and on her Facebook page they put up a memorial page, and the kids went on there and actually defaced it with some gruesome pictures of this child in a noose, and the caption at the bottom said, "It's not rape if they're dead." What is wrong with these sick kids?
Right.
What's going on?
That's
What is going? I mean,
ridiculous.
come on. What's going on here? This is insane.
Yeah.
Right. So the bullying is continuing even after she has passed on. Again, technology is huge, and, it goes back to parenting, and it goes back to watching your child. And what we know about teen suicide is that if a child is going to do it, they're going to do it, and nothing's going to stop them. However, I think that when a child does speak up, I'm very passionate about this, that someone has definitely dropped the ball. This is not a blame thing, but it's an awareness thing for teachers, educators, for community, for peers, and definitely for parents to be aware. If something is going on and your child speaks up and they're not getting help, whether it's therapy, medication, faith is very important. So if the family goes to church or temple, community. If the child is speaking up and nothing is done, then we have a serious problem. And I think that's what's going on right now. Whether it's mental illness or not, it doesn't really matter. There in Los Angeles, a huge, very devastating thing happened a few months ago, where a 13-year-old who had been bullied for a long time. She switched schools. She was actually a very good student. She was a singer, a dancer. She was in performing arts. She was the head of the play in musical theater. She was wonderful and really well liked, but she had struggled with bullying for a really, really long time. She did speak up. And then I think it went away for a little bit. And then when it came back, she was not able to tell anybody. But she wrote on her Facebook. She actually videotaped herself at 12 o'clock at night and said, "I'm going to hurt myself."
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
And,
We're going to go to a break, but one thing really quick is that we got to get the message to these kids. Speak up right away. Right away, and good things can happen from that. The worst thing to do is hold it in. All right, well, we're going to go to a break here, and when we come back, we will rejoin conversation with Dr. Wendy Schwartz and our in-studio guest, Macomb County Sheriff Anthony Wickersham. We'll be back shortly.
AISI. It was NBD.
You don't know what your kids are saying online or who they're saying it to. A lot of times, neither do they. Last year, 1 in 5 children was sexually solicited online. To protect your kids' online life and to get a full list of acronyms kids are using, call 1-800-THE-LOST or visit cybertipline.com. Help delete online predators. A message from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Ad Council.
Dad, can I ask you something?
Sure.
There's this girl I kind of like.
Say no more. You just have to impress her.
Okay, but how?
Just, I don't know, pick up a lot of heavy things around her.
Like what?
You know, desks, chairs, people. Grunt if you have to.
Grunt?
Yeah, be like, oh! There you go.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference. To learn more, call 1-888-200-4005. A public service announcement brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Well, AISI. It was NBD.
You don't know what your kids are saying online or who they're saying it to. A lot of times, neither do they. Last year, 1 in 5 children was sexually solicited online. To protect your kids' online life and to get a full list of acronyms kids are using, call 1-800-THE-LOST or visit cybertipline.com. Help delete online predators. A message from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Ad Council.
My name's Tyler, and in 9 years, I'll be an alcoholic. I'll start drinking in middle school, just at parties. But my parents won't start talking to me about it till high school.
Kids who drink before age 15 are 5 times more likely to have alcohol problems when they're adults.
The thing is, my parents won't even see it coming.
So start talking before they start drinking. To learn more, go to stopalcoholabuse.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Ad Council, and this station.
A worried man with a worried mind. No one in front of me and nothing behind. There's a woman on my lap and she's...
All right, everybody, welcome back. You are listening to The Paul Wedding Show here on AM 1310 WDTW. I have a national expert here on the line, Dr. Wendy Schwartz. In studio, Sheriff Anthony Wickersham. Dr. Schwartz, can you go back and finish your answer that you were talking about before the break?
Yes, I was just talking about a sad situation, a 13-year-old girl in Los Angeles who was bullied and tried to deal with it in a public way, tried to deal with it on her own, and, she taped her last kind of statement, and this is kind of an epidemic, again, not only in Los Angeles, but all over the world, where kids are using technology to kind of, say these statements. And one of her friends saw this kind of suicidal statement and immediately called 911 and did a great job at doing that intervention. Whether it was real or not, she instantly called 911 and said, "I'm worried about my friend. Please go over to the house." And police, knocked on the door, and the parents were sleeping, and they said, "We need to see your daughter." And they said, "Oh, she's sleeping. Everything's okay." And they said, "We need to see your daughter." And unfortunately, she had passed on. So, the peer did a wonderful thing, and I think if anything that I can say is take it seriously. When a child says a suicidal statement, that's a big thing, and a lot of people say, "Oh, they're being dramatic, oh, this or that." Well, let me tell you, because this young lady at 13, she knew a lot of people around Los Angeles, and her life story was touched so deeply that I have never been so busy. Whether I get emails at drwendyschwartz.com asking and reaching out for referrals, for help for their kids, for assessments. I have never hospitalized so many teenage children for suicidal, not just ideation, but they had gestures, they had a plan. They were really crying out for help, and they met the criteria to be hospitalized because they needed that kind of holding. And then the hospitals were filled up with teenagers who all were reporting suicidal ideation. So it's not just dramatic, but it really does trigger some other underlying issues, and it's all to be really taken seriously. And there's wonderful help out there, and I just want parents, and teenagers to know that there's a lot of wonderful solutions that you can do actively so that we can all kind of help these kids and teens and give parents support.
She's a nationally recognized expert on cyber bullies, on online predators. Dr. Schwartz, it was a pleasure to have you. Could you pass out your site information, and if any of the callers would like to speak to you, is there a number that somebody can get a hold of you at?
Absolutely. So my website is drwendyschwartz.com. That's drwendyschwartz.com. My telephone number is 310-712-1230. And I just wanted to say that one of the things that any parent can do is they can call the 800 number for Department of Child and Family Services. And at any time, they can always report anonymously, or even teenagers can report anonymously crisis issues at 800-540-4000. And there's also the Suicide Prevention Hotline and the Trevor Project for gay and lesbian teens. So there's wonderful assistance out there. And I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really passionate in helping families and kids and teens, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity again. Right. And I'm finishing my book, What They Tell Me, and it's a book on teens that have educated me about all the current issues going on and how we can help them. So I look forward to hopefully coming back and sharing my wonderful work in the community with you all.
Well, we'll be doing that, Dr. Schwartz, and thank you again for making the time today to be with us, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much, Dr. Schwartz.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bye-bye.
You know, Sheriff, I wanted to ask you, what was, I heard something about if a child or a teen takes a naked picture of themselves and sends it to their boyfriend, that's committing a cybercrime. Correct? Yeah,
that's and a lot of the young people or young children or teenagers, they don't realize when they do that they're distributing child pornography.
And then if he redistributes it to 15 other people, right, that's another crime. Is it 15 more crimes?
Yep.
Or just one?
Different counts. And and what happens here is, and what we have to get to our children, and what parents really have to understand is, again, we're talking about the Facebook issue, we're talking about internet, we got cell phones that have cameras in them, and they can take pictures and they can send them all over the place. And again, when you do that, those pictures never go away.
Yeah.
And again, when we're talking about the predators, we use that term, grooming, even in law enforcement. These predators are trying to take these children, from bad intentions into sexual exploitations. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up their portfolio of child pornography so they can go and trade that porn with other predators. And that's kind of what we call peer-to-peer.
Obviously these predators are sick. They're mentally.
Are they sick? Are they sick?
Well, they're not right. There's something got to be wrong with them.
And I'm sorry. I just.
No, yeah, I mean, by all means.
No, I'm just saying. Are these people sick, or are they just? Is it? This just boggles my mind. This conversation that we're having. Like I was telling you guys at the break. I can't believe that this is.
They're sick and mentally, and what there's those portions that may have those mental health issues, but there's some others that just whether it's the thrill or this trying to be with somebody younger, but all of this is created again by technology. And and the technology created is this keyboard and this screen.
Yeah, it gives them courage.
When we talk about bullying, back when we were in high school, the bully, it was always a face-to-face confrontation. Yeah. And a lot of people wouldn't do that because they didn't want to fight. Right. Well, here, bullying's easy. I can sit behind the keyboard at home in the comfort of my home, and I can make all kinds of threats and comments, and, I don't have any fear that somebody's going to punch me in the nose. Yeah. So I think they get that courage, and I think that's what's with these predators.
Yeah.
They can sit behind there and go.
Look, whether they're sick or not, there's something definitely wrong with them. And if you're a predator, somebody that's into this stuff, that's listening, listen, there's help for you. Go get it. There's people that can help you. There's programs, this and that. You better get help before the sheriff comes to get you.
I was going to say, if help is what you need, that's one thing. If not, Sheriff Wickersham has plenty of space.
We have space for you
too.
Yeah.
Yep. I was going to ask you, Sheriff, is incarceration a deterrent to this type of behavior, and what are typical sentences for this type of crime?
Well, the the production of child pornography that's taken to pictures and distributing, it ranges, from the state level, it's up to 20-year felonies. Our task force is federally deputized because we work in close proximity with the FBI. And on the federal guidelines, there's minimum sentencing. So, on the minimum is on one of these cases is 5, and some of them are 15 and 25. So, our deputies that are assigned to the task force, they have the choice of looking at the case, and determining whether we want to go state or we want to go federal with it. And again, if we feel that this individual is a real threat to society, in which we believe most of them are, we may take our case federally because they're going to get more jail time out of that. And we hope that that's going to be the deterrent. But, when you look at some of the FBI statistics, some of the recidivism rate is about 75%. So when we're talking about it, are these people sick?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I was wondering, 75% repeats.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, don't they learn the first time? They must like jail. I mean, what
I think they like our young children better, and that's where they're going. But
yeah, that's true.
As law enforcement, as it's our job to protect society, and if we got to keep them in jail to protect society, then that's what we should do.
Well, I know 25% of the kids do not tell their parents they're being stalked.
Yep,
they won't tell them.
That could make such a difference if we could get into these kids' head. With the bullying, with this and that, say something right away. Yeah. Recognize what is wrong and say something. Be mature. Don't worry about, what people are going to think about you. Say something right away.
And if you're out there, the sheriff be coming after you. Anyway, Sheriff, it's we've got 3 minutes left, so why don't you go ahead, take the 3 minutes.
All right, well, greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on the show here, and
that's great.
Again, this has been a great dialogue and great conversation, and again, the message what we need to get out is to our parents and to our children is, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, the internet and today's technology is great for all of us and supposed to make our lives easier. Yeah. But I think in law enforcement, it's really complicated our lives and complicated our investigations and complicated the way we have to protect society. So, we in law enforcement are going to be out there, and as technology changes, we're going to stay up on the current trends and do our best to protect people. But again, as Sir Robert Peel used to say, he was the founder of policing. The people are the police and the police are the people. Mm-hmm. So we have to work together to protect our community. And again, our parents need to protect our children. Friends need to protect friends.
Yeah.
And again, in any of these issues, cyberbullying, and if you know that something's going on as a friend, you got to bring it to a counselor, bring it to somebody so we can help people out.
And just remember, kids, friends on Facebook are not friends in real life.
Yeah.
Friendships are cultivated and developed over time. You go through things. You have a history with somebody. That's how you build friendships. You know the person. You interact with the person.
I think Facebook should change that to a contact instead of a friend. Because I think that terminology,
great idea.
says it's a friend, and like you said, it's a relationship, when really it's not. It's just all you did is you accepted this person to be a contact in your in your Facebook page.
Then you welcomed him into your world.
And you have adults that are talking about their Facebook friends. They're not friends, they're acquaintances, and I tell people that all the time. They're not friends.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
Anyway, they're bringing up the music, which means this show is in the books. This was a wonderful show, a very informative show. I want to thank Denny, my engineer, for doing a wonderful job.
Great
As
job.
always, thank you, Denny. I want to thank Dr. Wendy Schwartz. I want to thank my in-studio guest, Sheriff Anthony Wickersham, and of course, my co-host Ray Parnello.
Paul, it's been a pleasure.
As
Thank
always, we will be back again next Saturday at 11 a.m. for the Paul Wedding Show here on AM 1310 WDTW. I want to thank you for listening, for emailing, and remember, walk through the door, turn around, and wave. It's a brave new world. We are out.
Go Blue.
You have been listening to The Paul Wedding Show. Make sure to tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on 1310 WDTW.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I